Everyone knows about the Incredible Hulk. But what about the sensational She-Hulk? Bruce Banner's cousin, Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, has done everything from kicking around with Marvel's first family to flying around the galaxy as a space lawyer. Let's explore the untold truth of She-Hulk. Legal legacy. Considering how successful the Hulk has been for Marvel, it stands to reason that they'd want to fill the Green Giant's world with some supporting players. But it actually took the threat of losing the rights to a Lady Hulk that pushed the publisher into actually making it happen. With the Incredible Hulk TV series blowing up in the late 70s, Marvel started to worry CBS might try to spin off a female-led series. Just like how the $6 Million Man led to the Bionic Woman. In order to retain control, Marvel beat them to the punch and created She-Hulk before anyone could develop the idea. Though, as female versions of existing characters go, no one beats Modam. Original fourth wall breaker. Everyone loves Deadpool, in large part because the anti-hero cracks jokes and talks directly to viewers about how ridiculous comics can be. But She-Hulk helped pioneer that concept in the pages of sensational She-Hulk for 60 issues in the 1980s, several years before Wade Wilson even first showed up. The cover of the first issue actually featured She-Hulk holding a copy of her previous standalone title, telling readers, "This is your second chance. If you don't buy my book this time, I'm going to come to your house and rip up all your X-Men." Sensational She-Hulk wasn't afraid to get weird and often featured She-Hulk talking directly to readers as well as her own writers and artists. When the series was cancelled with issue 60, She-Hulk made good on her promise and came back for the readers' X-Men comics. Marvel's fashion icon. John Byrne's sensational She-Hulk series was never afraid to try out unusual things, and its acclaimed late 1980s run is known for establishing much of the personality and look fans have come to love about Jennifer Walters. Sensational She-Hulk cast the green superheroine as a fashion icon of sorts, drawing comparisons to Melanie Griffith, occasionally changing up her attire 4 or 5 times per issue. When she wasn't out bussing up supervillains, she was wearing classic early 90s styles, like stylish dresses and pantsuits, or on one particular strange occasion, nearly nothing, during 4 full pages of jump roping. You can practically hear the nerds breathing heavily when you look at those pages.
Oh, loneliness and cheeseburgers are a dangerous mix.
As if the books weren't unusual enough, readers only had to turn to the back pages to find the most unfortunately named letter pages of all time. Considering that the comic was about a woman with traditionally masculine hulky traits, that fan mail section, it was called She-Mail, one of Stan Lee's last great creations.
Greetings, true believers. I'm Stan Lee.
Throughout the 1960s, comics legend Stan Lee co-created many of the A-list heroes on Marvel's roster. He had a hand in Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Black Panther, Hawkeye, and the X-Men, just to name a few. But after that remarkable run, Lee didn't create a character for more than a decade. Until She-Hulk. Lee co-created the character of Jennifer Walters with John Buscema in 1980, and she made a debut in Savage She-Hulk. She's one of the last truly successful characters Lee created, unless of course you count Stripperella, which we don't, and neither should you. Substitute thing. She-Hulk has been a member of several different teams over the years. One of the most interesting? The Fantastic Four. Though Marvel's first family is typically comprised of Mr. Fantastic, the Human Torch, Invisible Woman, and The Thing, She-Hulk joined the roster as the resident strong woman when The Thing temporarily left the team. She started holding down the fort in his absence in Fantastic Four issue 265. Even after that first stint came to an end, she eventually worked with the Future Foundation and teamed up more than a few times with the FF. Mrs. Manwolf. She-Hulk has had love connections with more than a few heroes and villains across the Marvel roster, but one of the most interesting relationships was her brief marriage to John Jameson, son of Spider-Man stalwart J. Jonah Jameson. John has been portrayed as everything from an astronaut to a man-wolf over the decades, but the relationship didn't last. It's true what they say, relationships between giant green lawyers and werewolf astronauts are doomed from the start. She faced off against Daredevil. They're the two most prominent lawyers in the Marvel Universe, and it's crazy to think it took until 2014 for She-Hulk and Daredevil to finally face off in the courtroom. The two met in a case involving Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, who had lost his youth and powers. Writer Charles Soule managed the tricky feat of balancing the dueling attorney's abilities, both super and legal. Cinematic She-Hulk? While the character never wound up in the live-action Incredible Hulk TV series, Marvel did try to bring her to the silver screen in the late 80s. The project got far enough along into development for the studio to shoot some concept photos starring Bridget Nielsen. It was even announced as an upcoming project at the Cannes Film Festival in 1991, along with a would-be sequel to Dolph Lundgren's Punisher movie. Production fell apart due to a lack of interest and Marvel's terrible track record in the 90s. As for Nielsen, it was certainly an interesting look for She-Hulk. They basically just threw her into a green body bodysuit. And you know what they say, life imitates art. Years after her involvement with the project ended, Nielsen found herself in a relationship not unlike one of She-Hulk's many romantic misadventures. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.